You are not a misfit, outsider, or weird. Welcome to our table. Be yourself. Part 2. You have the deeps, one tribe who like to talk deeply, the chats who like to keep it lighter, more superficial on the surface. I don't want you to feel like weird. I don't want you to feel like an outsider. And many of you have. Not all of you. Some of you can do chat and go deep. But many of you have told me that you have felt like a weirdo, an outsider. And it's even worse if you're very creative. And some of the people who are chats don't mean to make you feel that way, but some do. Some might just roll their eyes. Oh, there she goes again. Oh, there he goes again. Or look at each other like, wow. This happens. I know it's happened to you. And I feel for you. For those of you who've had that, I feel tremendous compassion. And I'm doing all I can to create a place at the table for you. Because your true self, when expressed in the deepest fashion, is beautiful, noble, and it's your God-given right, and certainly your right as an American, to be who you really are, as long as the expression of a true self is done in a respectfully real manner. So I'm going to open it to get any comments or questions. I want you to feel free to ask anything or say anything. I've had many people tell me, hey, in my individual sessions with my patients, many people say, I'm really glad you're talking about this because I felt that way all my life. You'd be amazed how many people have told me that. The nomenclature of deeps and chats really gives people a hook, a way of expressing themselves. I feel an explanation for what the lifetime experience has been. So I'm here for you, and there are others who are here for you. Please feel free to speak up and ask questions.
I'll speak up, Dr. Nerenberg.
Tell me who this is.
This is Charette.
Oh, Charette. Yes, Charette. Please, what do you have to say, Charette?
How are you?
Tell us about yourself, Charette. What's your thoughts and reactions?
Okay, well, for me, I'm just starting with this chat, but I want to say that I'm just still learning the difference between a chat and a deep. So I'm going deep now with my conversations.
How is that working for you? What's the response to your deep conversations?
They don't like it.
Yeah, you know,
I don't care.
Well, the thing is, when I first started expressing myself back in the late 60s, I wasn't doing it respectfully. I offended people. I was just coming out in a bad way to be myself. As I got older, I learned how to do it respectfully. The key is, as you learn how to do it, you can learn to do it more lovingly, more compassionately, more kindly, more respectfully. As you learn to do that, you still might have a hard time. I'm not saying you won't, but it's more honorable. Tell me your thoughts about what I just said to you.
I agree with you. The thing is, I've always been compassionate and I guess more passive, people would say. So I think that the people who are around me, they're not used to me going deep. So when they see that, they're like, ouch.
Yeah, now I'm going to ask you a question. Answer it as honest as you can. Is there an edge on it when you're doing it? Is it gentle or is it a little harsh because you're just first expressing yourself? Just honestly, whatever it is, I'd like to hear.
I think I come off more soft, but because people are used to me being passive, they push back. But then I have to come off harsh. So I'm still learning how to,
Yeah, the way to do it when you have to come back, you come back and say, look, with all due respect, it's a good expression, with all due respect, this is how I see it. If you don't feel that way about it, that's fine. But I have a right to express myself just like you have a right to express yourself. That's a way of pushing back. We're not going to let people walk on us. And at the end, we don't want to walk on them either. So there are ways, you'll find ways to do it. There are times when it might just really be pressing buttons. We might overreact. If we do that, we can apologize. Hey, listen, I apologize if I said it too harshly, but I need to say this. I'm saying this to you because I really care about our relationship. I want our relationship to be more meaningful. Life is short. I want to make our time together count. So then it's seen as caring, which it is. You care about the relationship. Otherwise, you would just suppress it.
Yes.
How does that sound to you?
That sounds perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I learned the hard way. Listen, as my father said to me, he said, son, I have a lot of good advice to give you, not because I've been so smart, just I've been so stupid. I've done this the wrong way for many years. And then slowly I caught on as I became more honorable and understood the way of honor more and repeating the commandments of honor and the bridge and teaching the method. I became a better person. And I learned how to really come out and be myself more and more in an honorable way. Thank you so much for that. So much. Anybody?
You're
who
very
else?
welcome.
Thank you. Who else? By the way,
one more last thing I wanted to tell you.
Please.
I'm learning to go deep. So I said, wow, look at Dr. Nerenberg. He looks very professional and handsome today.
Well,
you always do.
Well, you know something? Let me tell you, I appreciate that. I'm hearing how good looking I am at 82 more than when I was 22. I guess I'm just aging well. Yeah, I'm hearing it from men and women both. Oh, you're so handsome. I said, well, thank you. Nobody was telling me that in my 20s or 30s or 40s, but I'm hearing it now. Thank you, Shred, for that.
There you go. You're welcome.
Yeah, you're complimenting not only me, my way of life, and you're complimenting my wife, who really takes good care of me. I have to tell you. Thank you. Thank you.
Good job.
Anybody else have something you want to ask or say?
Hey, Dr. Nerenberg, this is Bridget.
Dear Bridget.
Hey.
So deep Bridget.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to make a comment that I love this journey about distinguishing the difference between the chats and the deeps. And I've been having a lot more meaningful and deep connections with everyone that I talk to. And I'm just a deep person, so I'm genuinely curious about other people's life and their perspective. And when you ask other people what their perspective is on a certain topic, you know, they like to talk about themselves and their perspective, and I love that. So, and then I'm able to also reciprocate with mine. And I think that's really helping me just feel more connection with people in life. And I just wanted to share that, and thank you so much for bringing this up.
Bridget, let me tell you. You're a very charming person to begin with. You're very likable. And so I'm certain the way you do this with people, especially given you're interested in them, really brings them out. And I'm sure as much as they liked you or loved you before, I think they probably appreciate you even more now. Or is that true, or you can't tell?
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone wants to feel valued in life. And as a human being, you value and love and care for all strangers or anyone around you. You know, they're human beings too. And I think it's just important to feel that love in life. And when you give that to someone else, when you wish someone else well, you also wish yourself well, because you feel that energy back.
Let me tell you who really needs this type of approach that you have. Our honored elders. A lot of people don't even pay attention to them. They really have so much wisdom and experience, but nobody's showing an interest in what their views are on anything. They're repositories of historical knowledge and repositories of great wisdom. So speaking particularly to in the honor movement, we don't use the word senior citizen, we use the word honored elders. The honored elders really, really respond because nobody's talking to them at that level. I mean, nobody. And they really appreciate young people coming up, talking to them at that level. You have what I call also, you have chats, the committed chats who always want to stay on the surface. But then you have the chadeeps. Chadeeps are really, they want to go deep, but they're trapped in a chat way of life. They're just trapped in that. They really want to come out of it, they just don't know how. So if you go deeply with somebody and you ask those questions or you reveal things about yourself, they'll start feeling safe and they'll start coming out and letting you see who they really are. There are many people who never feel really seen, never feel heard. And one topic that you can talk to anybody about, it's hard to talk to you about religion or politics. That can get pretty heated. But if you ask people, what do you think about honor? What is honor to you? That opens up. Everybody will talk to you about that. I mean, everybody's universal. We interviewed 5,000 people on the streets. We've done surveys on our research projects, and I've given those results on various classes. Well, thank you as always, Bridget. It's always wonderful to hear what you have to say. Always wonderful to get your texts and your thoughts on everything.
Thank you, Doctor. And I'm really curious what everyone else's thoughts are.
Well, yes.
This
Let me tell you something. I mean, I'm grateful I have a chance to express and say these things to you. But you know what my patients tell me that they benefit the most? They don't say, Dr. Nerenberg, I really appreciate what you say, but I really like hearing what the other people have to say. They say, I don't feel so alone. I see I'm not alone in this. What you're saying, whatever you want to say, each of you, no pressure to say anything, but you're helping other people, because I hear all the time, and sometimes they go by their name. They say, so-and-so said this. Gave me so much hope, gave me so much optimism. Really, this part of the conversation of what you have to say is more important than you realize, because each one of you most of you felt, I thought I was alone in the struggle in life. But everybody's going through it. And what I have to tell you about your struggle is your struggles, your suffering, as well as your happiness are fleeting. But your honor is forever. Your honor is forever. All the rest is fleeting. I want to invite other comments and questions.
Hi, Dr. Nerenberg. It's Francesca.
Francesca, I kept seeing you on the screen there, even though other people were speaking. Good to see you again, Francesca.
Yes, good to see you. And I just wanted to say, me being a deep,
you're a deep.
Yes, and I've been a deep my whole life.
You can't even help it, nor could I. So that's why I recognize you.
Yeah. So even as a child, I remember being told, don't ask those questions, don't say that, and, So for a while, I had to get used to just, suppressing things and just not discussing certain things with everyone. But now, since you brought up this subject the way that you have, I'm going to start having more conversations with different people. And I'll tell you, the elderly or the honored
elders,
they are my favorite people to talk to.
Well, they'll be so happy. A beautiful young lady like you, opening up, talking to them, showing an interest. They you may need to it might be hard to even get away, but they'll be so happy because there's a pandemic of loneliness on the honored elders. You know what? 80% of my patients are lonely, between medium to severely lonely. And if you're a deep, you can get very lonely. I mean, I'm going to address that issue. Lonely. And I feel for that loneliness. I feel a tremendous amount for the loneliness of my people, because I consider this my tribe. The deeps like yourself, you're part of my tribe.
Right.
I feel tremendous compassion, tremendous connection to you. And the other deeps who are hearing you right now, who may not even be saying anything, they feel that for you right now, Francesca.
Yeah, and I just appreciate you bringing this out, because it's so true. And I'm just really talking to someone of age and wisdom. It's like they have so much information. I mean, it's just, I could just sit there and just talk to them sometimes for hours. They know so much, and they are overlooked often. And it's like...
Well, I tell you this, the retirement homes, nobody's coming to them. I mean, they're just sitting there waiting to die. It's a waste.
Wow.
There's two natural resources being wasted. Our honored elders, the wisdom, and they're being repositories of historical knowledge. And the other words, people are squandering their words like we're going to be here forever. None of us knows when our end is there. I mean, I just talked to this guy yesterday. Now he's dead. We just wasted our time chatting about whatever. I wish we had said these other things to each other. You don't know. You want your words, you want your last words to have some meaning. Nobody, let me tell you something. God willing, you're all going to live another 100 years. Let me tell you what you don't want to be on your deathbed. You don't want to be on your deathbed to be these words. Hi, sweetheart. Nice weather. And boom. I mean, nobody, none of you, I don't want those my last words. You probably don't want to say you love the person or how much they meant to you or something about really from deep within. Well, guess what? None of us know when that moment's going to happen. We don't know. So if you have something you really need to say that needs to come out towards somebody, family member or friend or whatever, you know, do something to uplift people. I'll tell you the difference between deeps and chats. Chats mostly talk for entertainment and to pass the time. Also a way of bonding. You can get create a bond, getting closer through just chatting. A deep wants to talks, has conversation for inspiration, education, upliftment, support, as well as entertainment also. In fact, being deep and getting a strong bond is very interesting. There's a difference in the motivation for a deep speaking versus a chat.
Yeah.
Now, some people could do the chat and the deep. They go back and forth, not a problem. But there are many of us, including me, I don't do the chat. And then we interviewed 1,800 people, and 70% said they feel agitated or bored 5 or 10 minutes of chat.
Oh, yeah.
People get agitated. And it's my theory that people are on their cell phone all the time because they don't want to go into those chats. They want to say, this is what I have to say, boom, done with you. Next one, boom, 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 done with you. I don't want to wait. Don't have to waste a lot of time with all the chatting. Just get to the bottom line. And and people feel free to really speak deeply. Not that all people do, but they feel more free to go deeper if they're going to text somebody. I'm so happy with having this meeting. I'm so happy that I can make you feel more normal. Nobody ever told me this. I'm telling you, this is motivated from the Spirit to give this to you. Certain of you really, really need this. And I wish somebody, when I was younger, your age, I wish somebody had told me about this. I had to figure this out to mentally survive. And then as a psychologist, I then had the pleasure, the privilege of serving you, my patients, who I call my people, and share this with you so you can go further than me on my shoulders and go further into greater heights of perception and wisdom and compassion. That's my wish for you.
Dr. Nerenberg, I have a quick question for you.
Is this Francesca still?
It's still Francesca,
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so growing up, I was never a real affectionate person.
No.
And my mom was never really, really affectionate, like as far as saying, I love you and stuff like
A
that.
lot of families had that, but but you felt loved or not?
I felt loved. Oh, yes.
And here's the
But
thing:
as
many of us
far
didn't
as
grow up
saying-
around the expression. That's right.
As far as saying it, and that's I've noticed that's something that I've passed on, and I want to get rid of that because just like you said, I don't want to feel like I should have been more vocal, or I should have told my loved ones that I love them. I want to get out of that.
Well, let me tell you how to do it. Let me how to do it, Francesca. How often you do your commandments of honor?
Oh, I'm doing them every day.
Once, twice, three, how many times?
3 times a day.
Perfect. Add one more to it. That's one of the laws of honor. I love you. So you're going, God, your wish is my only wish. I wish you well. I take full responsibility for co-creating my reality, my problems. I'm grateful for the power I gave from hardship. Then the bridge, what's the most honorable thing to think, say, and do? I love you. You want to have that thought, I love you, because when you hear yourself, right now you don't hear yourself say, you hear yourself saying, I love you. Believe me, it increases the probability of coming out of your lips and your mouth. I love you.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't grow up with it at all. I knew my mother loved me. I knew my father loved me. Always knew it. It wasn't something that was said. But I say to my wife probably 4 or 5 times, I love you, sweetheart. and you can tell from the tone how deep it's going. Sometimes you can see it's deeper than others. And my children, I love you. When I say goodbye, I very affectionate, but I didn't grow up with it. Now, I know it's one married couple, beautiful people, but the woman was craving for the man to just even hold her hand. He wouldn't even hold her hand. He said, well, I didn't see my mother-in-law holding hands. He wouldn't take his wife's hand. She had practically begged for for physical contact, and, he wasn't getting it. So there are some people that will say, well, I wasn't raised that way. But you, Francesca, you're saying I wasn't raised that way, but I want to go beyond that. It's doable. I'm a good example. I went way, way beyond it.
Okay.
And it's your right, particularly, your loved ones, your family members. I didn't grow up with that. My cousin Jackie, we grew up since we were kids. We always had a deep bond, deep relationship with my cousin. I mean, to this day, 80 years later, I remember the first time I saw him, I was about 5 or 6 years old. First memory of him. Now, so in recent years, I say, hey, Jackie, I love you. And he'll say to me, but you know what? If you in a family, you have that long history of not saying it, it's a little more awkward. I'll say, Jack, I love you. I love you like my brother, more than a cousin to me, like my brother. And he'll say it, but it wasn't. It's easier to me to say to somebody I didn't grow up with, for me, that. But my children, from the beginning, I was doing that. But if it hadn't been like that, I remember one time with my father, we never said I love you. I always knew my father was a great man. He always knew he loved me. One time I said with tears to my dad, I love you so much. He got worried. You okay? My father loved me with all his heart. And I'll tell you a story there to illustrate this. One day we're in the car. This was about 45 years ago. My mother, my sister, my father in the car. And we were talking about cars and this and that. And I started feeling lonely. I said, Dad, talk to something more meaningful. I'm getting very lonely. I need to hear something deeper right now, Dad. My father took my hand and kissed it. And he said, son, how should I do that? How should I talk to you more deeply? And I said, Dad, that took care of it. I'm good. We go out with that conversation. So he's just kissing my hand, even though we didn't have a deeper conversation. Just taking my hand and kissing my hand and wanting to go deeper, even though at that moment he couldn't. That really took care of my loneliness.
Yeah.
That was an amazing situation. I never forgot it.
Right.
Yeah.
I've had situations like that too. Like, I grew up with so much love from my mother, my grandmother, my dad, but just them saying it, they've never been, to express it verbally. They just weren't like kissers and huggers and stuff. But yes, I know I was loved, and I know that that's something that you can pass down. I know with my children, they'll say it, but it's like, it's kind of awkward when you haven't grown up doing that.
It is. Let me tell you something. I have what I call the laws of love. I repeat these. I used to do this 3 times a day. I got tired of doing it 3 times a day because I have a long list. I love you. I adore you. I cherish you. I respect you. I appreciate you. I'll do anything for you. I'm totally committed to you. I'll always be loyal to you. Next to God, you're my first priority always. So I'm used to hearing myself say that. And that awakens, it's already in me, so awakens that. So when I'm having a certain experience, I can go there more quickly because I'm repeating those thoughts. That was the list of them. In addition to the commandments of honor and the bridge, I've got the laws of honor. My whole thing takes me about a minute to do, and that's part of it. Because we have 25 laws. We have the 4 commandments of honor, the bridge, the supremacy of honor code, 25 laws of honor. Everything you're saying, I'm going to tell you, Francesca, I'm going to make a prediction. Tomorrow when I see some of these other wonderful people that are here, they're going to say, wow, what Francesca said really moved me. Believe me.
Really?
Yeah, you're making a very important contribution. Each one of you doesn't even realize, why do you make a big contribution in my life? I mean, you really do. I can tell you how much I appreciate you and respect you. And I know what you're doing for the other people.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I really do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for putting this together and allowing us to be able to express ourselves. It's really helping.
Well, let me tell you, you want to know how I came up with all this?
How?
A lot of pain. I suffered tremendously from being such a deep guy. I tried to fit in. As a matter of fact, I grew up with these guys when I was at the University of Buffalo. These guys, out of performers, they would tell stories. They would tell these stories and laugh. I couldn't do it. I started making up stories, memorizing the stories, forgot who I told the stories to. I just was trying to fit in with what I saw around me. For me, it was a difficult journey. But enshrined within your deepest struggle is the seed of your nobility, your dignity, and your honor. That struggle that I had led to tremendous insight and wisdom. So I want to tell you, everybody, all of you, your struggles will add great power to you. This came to me through tremendous suffering beyond what I can even express to you. It was a crushing loneliness outsider feeling for me. That's why I said, you're not a misfit, outsider, or weird. How did I come up with that? Because I'm talking about me, but I'm giving you this thing, telling you not that. Then I found I'm really not that. So my experience and what I learned, I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for that suffering because I've been able to present it this way and have it preserved on the videos, to write about it, and to help you lovely, lovely people. What a privilege. I'm so grateful. So grateful. But I want you to know your suffering, as you walk the path of honor, you'll find great meaning in that. And it's impossible to achieve wisdom without suffering. Impossible. You cannot even achieve compassion without suffering. So all the suffering you have, and there's no escaping it, not for you, not for our children. We have to get them ready and show them the way, how to deal with these things. Your suffering matters. Your suffering will be constructive. And I define wisdom as integrating your joys and your sorrows, your gains and your losses into a constructive perspective. I thank God for my struggles. I thank God for my suffering that I can now bring this to you. That's the truth. Anything else you want to say on that, Francesca?
No, you covered it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Anybody else have anything you want to ask or say?
Hi, Dr. Nerenberg. It's Christy.
Christy, I was wondering if you were here. I'm so glad you're here, Christy.
Hi, Christy. Hi, Karen. How are you? And I echo Francesca's comment. You look very dapper this evening.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. As I said, it doesn't go to my head, but I'm grateful to hear it.
Walk out that room.
I'm really grateful to hear it. Thank you.
I just wanted to say, there's a couple of quotes I wanted to share. It says, if you ever want to learn anything about life, talk to a 4-year-old and an 84-year-old, because their perspective,
That's brilliant. That is brilliant. I wish I said it. That's so brilliant. I wish I had said it.
I wish I said it too, but, it's interesting. I am a deep person, but I am guarded with who I am deep with. And I, have a parent who is a chat. And I've always been very passive with this parent and I really felt like I couldn't speak up. And it has caused some turmoil in our relationship, even though my father was a great dad growing up and raised me.
And you feel loved by him, but it's hard for you to talk to him. I know.
I can't talk to him.
I know.
And, there are some deep-seated issues that as I get older, I really need to get off my chest.
Let me tell you something, Christy. I know you very, very well, but we text each other a lot. I know exactly the situation. Here's the thing. I don't think it'll work face to face. My best shot would say you got to text them, or, text them, and then, but couch it with tremendous, Dad, I love you so much. I've always felt very loved by you, and I respect you so much. And everybody loves you. I can see it because I know your father's very popular. And I see that, Dad. And I'm so lucky to have you as my father. I need to, though, also feel a deeper conversation, or I really need X, Y, and Z from you. If you could give that to me, Dad, I'd be very grateful. You got to couch it in the full context of how grateful you are. Now, let me tell you the mistake that most psychologists do, and I'm angry about this. They when they have patients come in, they explore what their parents did to them. Oh, you have these problems. Let's see what your father did to you. And they come up with this and that. And they really get them angry at their parents. I say, let's look at what your father did for you. And then in that context, let's look at some of the issues that came up. But it has to be in the context of gratitude. So if you're truly grateful in your heart for all the amazing things he's done for you and the sacrifice over his lifetime, which I know you are, you have to express whatever limitation, issue has to be framed in the context of that tremendous bounty that was yours. Let me give you an example. In the 1940s, nobody talked about child abuse. They really didn't. My mother used to take a belt, just whoop me with that thing. That wasn't child abuse then. There were social services these days. And my mother always loved me, crazy about my mom. She's passed on some years ago. But she really whooped me badly, smashed my head when she got frustrated, cut my lip, different things. But I was about 30 years old, and I'm not aware of any trauma from it. When I was about 30, I said, Mom, do you remember what you did this and this and this to me? She said, Son, I didn't do that. I said, okay, Mom, doesn't matter because I always knew you loved me. And it never came up again. So as far as I can tell, now I could be in denial, I don't see any harm from it. I mean, I was really terrified of her as a kid. Somebody say you're in denial. I've looked into it. I don't see any ongoing trauma or issues or baggage from it. It might be there and I don't see it. I'm a very aware guy. So I said, Mom, I always knew you loved me. She was 18 when she had me. We were poor. We were in an apartment. She was overwhelmed. And it was done. Yeah, please.
Right. No, I understand this. And when it comes to my dad, I have kept things very short and sweet with him. I have not gone deep with him because because of certain things. But I also know that his intentions, he doesn't intend to offend. And so I think to make a point, I have to keep it very relevant, very current, and very short.
Well, let me tell you the point. People we like to make distinction between intention and effect. So the intention could be whatever, but the effect has been damaging. I'm sure he's not even aware of it. But you need to, without accusing him.
Right.
First, he talked about how grateful for so much, in the text, so it's very concise. He has a chance to sit there and not get defensive. And Dad, I feel isolated, or these issues stay with me. I need some help with it from you. Maybe you can help me, Dad, if you can. You're asking for help.
I did this once before. He doesn't have text, and it's because of me. Because of years ago, I sent him a very.
What about email? Does he have email?
No.
Listen, Christy. How about a letter? How about snail mail? You write a letter the old way.
I'm gonna write a letter.
You write a letter, and if you want to show it to me first, or run any ideas about it, text me. I'll help you with it.
I will. The thing is I can articulate better in a letter as opposed to speaking to him face to face, where I get very emotional. And so the last time we had a deep come to Jesus meeting, I wrote him a letter, because he's, at the end of the day, he's my dad, and I get emotional because of there's certain hurt with him. And so I have been thinking about presenting a letter to him, and that way I can extract all of the fluff and just get to the point without
Christy, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
That's the way to go. And also, now you take out the fluff, you're making sure it's in a proper context of the gratitude of what that man did to make sure you were taken care of all your life and how deeply he loves you. That, it really allows you the chance to do that. That's excellent,
Great.
Christy. Excellent.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Dr. Nerenberg.
Oh, no, I mean, thank you, because you're sharing this, believe me, helps others. One of the reasons I share my own struggles in my life is saying, hey, this is normal stuff. This is all normal stuff that we go through. People, that's one of the things people get from these presentations, especially hearing from wonderful people like you, articulate, very intelligent. They hear, believe me, I'm not alone.
Right.
I'm not alone. I'm not crazy. You'd be surprised how many patients tell me, it was so great. I'm not crazy. I'm not alone.
Right.
Dr.
Yeah.
Nerenberg, can I just,
Please.
this is Chris.
Chris.
I just wanted, what's up? I just wanted to follow up with what Christy had said. And first and foremost, Christy, thanks for sharing that. I don't know if that was intentional, with everything with your dad, but again, safe space, right? So thank you for sharing that. The one thing that I did want to make mention of, I'm never the one to try to give advice to anybody. I just more like shared experiences. And for me, I think the revelation that you just came up with on your own of writing a letter to your father versus text or even a conversation over the phone.
She wrote a letter before, so that's how she came up with it.
Yeah. And it's huge because, in a lot of other avenues of mental health, therapy, whatever, they're always going to tell you to like journaling and whatnot. And there's a huge difference from journaling, putting pen to paper versus like, writing notes in your phone and whatnot. And I do think that there's a lot of power that, at least in my personal opinion and in my experience, a lot of power that comes from putting pen to paper, and the thoughts become very
Chris, let me interject this. This. Correct. And it can be combined. Person could journal, kind of get a rough draft that way, journaling, and then take those thoughts and then organize it into a loving, compassionate, respectful letter, which Christy's very skilled at. She will be doing that. I agree with you 100%. The best journaling is fine, but if your parent is alive, you can still deal with this. So many people have lost their mother or father. They need to say something, work something through. They have that parent. But again, particularly with a parent or anybody, to the extent you could point out the love, the respect, the gratitude, that's real. Whatever complaint you have in any relationship, particularly with a parent, as legitimate as it is, it's only half the story. The other half of the story is that you've benefited in many ways. Look, I've been through many things I've shared with you. That's only half the story. The other half is it led to a lot of wisdom and compassion, and I'm grateful for it. So there's always the rest of the story. There's the painful part, and then the good that came out of it. Always. I'm grateful for the power I gained from hardship.